Some might say that Anthony Granatelli was born to promote a product like STP. Growing up in Chicago, young Andy started paying his promotional dues early on. In 1946, Andy raced in a self-designed Ford rocket car as Antonio Granatelli, famous Italian speed ace. By 1948, he was promoting weekly stock car races on Chicago's Soldiers Field. That same year, Andy Granatelli got himself qualified as a driver at the Indianapolis Speedway, and he vowed someday to win there. But it was his association with Studebaker and its newly purchased subsidiary, Chemical Compounds, that put Andy and STP on the world map. In 1958, local distributors selling STP out of the trunks of their cars were looking for new ways to promote their product.
We decided to maybe this product should be involved in auto racing.
I put the logo on every car at Indianapolis, had the STP logo on it.
The guy was a showman, pure and simple. Those STP pajamas, we called them, that he brought to the Speedway, so flamboyant. White coveralls with big STP patches all over them, from ankles to collar.
It looked very foolish, I mean, frankly, but what great publicity it was. The board of directors of Studebaker called me in one day and says, you know, you're being criticized by the public relations department here because you wore that monkey uniform with all that decals on it. You ought to be in a business suit. You're president of the STP division. I said, all right, that's what you want me to do, I'll do that. So I took the same cloth and I had a business suit made out of it. I did what I had to do to make sales go skyrocket. Of course, I gave away over 100 million decals, and people thought I was crazy, but it worked.
In 1963, the Studebaker STP racing team, Andy, Joe, and Vince Granatelli, and Paula Murphy, went to Bonneville and set 365 USAC speed records in just 2 weeks. But Andy wanted a win at Indy. He tried with a Granatelli redesigned 837 horsepower Novi in 1964. Bobby Unser drove the STP Novi car to an early lead, but handling problems soon dropped it from contention. In 1967, Andy entered perhaps the most controversial car in the history of racing, the four-wheel drive STP Turbo Car. Powered by a helicopter's turbine engine with the legendary Parnelli Jones behind the wheel, Andy was poised to capture STP's first Indy 500.
I'll never forget that race when it started. Parnelli pulled right on the outside of the whole bunch of us and went right around us going in turn one on the outside.
I started on pole and Parnelli just went right by me and just, I think he gave me a little wave.
But after leading the race all day, a $6 ball bearing broke on the turbo car with less than 3 laps to go. The bitter defeat was compounded when severe restrictions rendered the car uncompetitive after 68. In 1969, Andy and STP teamed up with Mario Andretti, and the combination proved successful. In a backup car, Andretti came through for his new boss, taking the checkered flag for STP Racing. When Mario drove into the winner's circle, Granatelli sealed the victory with the most famous kiss in sports history.
You know, it's all emotion and all the right kind of emotion, of course. And typical Andy style, you know, he just lets it go. And coming from Andy was perfect.
Everybody thinks when I kissed Mario Andretti, I kissed him because I'm Italian. That's true. I was going to kiss him anyway, but when I kissed him, it was because of my enthusiasm for him winning the race for me and all. But I told him in his ear, I said, tell him you got more STP in your Ford than the other guy.
All I can say is that we have more STP in our Ford engine than the other fellows.
NASCAR was Andy's next target. On the weekend before the opening race of '72, negotiations were conducted in Chicago that would lead to the longest, most successful driver-sponsor relationship in motorsports history.
But I knew that Petty was the guy to make a deal with, and I made a deal with Petty because I knew he was a gentleman, a man of his word. I knew he would do what he said he was going to do, and I knew he was the greatest stock car driver to come down the pike, you know.
And he said, the car will, you know the car is going to be red. And I said, I said, my cars has always been blue. He said, no, said STP cars is always red, so we went back and forth. I said, no way. So I got up, made it to the door, and then he said, you know, time out here, guys. We can work this deal out. So we just got down, started painting the car and finally wound up with half of it red, half of it blue.
In 1973, Richard Petty captured the first of 4 Daytona 500s he would win for STP. 7 victories in the Super Bowl of stock car racing proved that the man to beat at the big track was always King Richard. Then, Gordon Johncock followed Petty's Daytona 500 win by capturing the 1973 Indy 500 for the STP Patrick team. That same year, Andy Granatelli stepped down from the presidency of STP, but he had created an association with STP that will never fade.
My father did such a fantastic job in marketing, and he did such a fantastic job in selling the product that he was STP.
Now 81 years young, Andy Granatelli is happily retired and still happily married to Dolly, his much-loved wife of 48 years. Andy has channeled his immense promotional skills toward helping others, fundraising for hundreds of charitable organizations, including the United Way, the 1199 Foundation, and the Unity Shop. In the history of auto racing, there has never been, nor will there probably ever be, a somebody like Anthony Granatelli, Mr. 500.